Okay, so hopefully you've come up with most of these. So in terms of the organisations that are competing, so we've got sports development, we've got physical activity and health, we've got coaching, we've got physical education, S&C, sports injury and rehab, government policy. So all of these different organisations are taking physical literacy and saying, right, how can we use this to get or to put in our national strategy, to put in our policies? How can we use it as within our strapline to say, this is where we're going in terms of coaching, this is where we're going in terms of government policy for sport and physical activity. And I'm not saying they can't take it and use it. My only concern is that they don't use it in the correct way. And so what we have is all these organisations competing, taking physical literacy and totally misinterpreting it. And the result of that is we have people out there using it that don't really understand what it means. So just to finish off then, so hopefully we got a better understanding out of physical literacy. It's not fundamental movement skills. Fundamental movement skills is a part of it. It contributes as an outcome to what you do as a coach, as a teacher, because you're trying to make young children more physically competent. So yeah, inevitably I'm going to focus on fundamental movement skill, but it's not just fundamental movement skills. It's not physical literacy is made up of movement and sports skills, which contributes to excellence and participation. It does contribute to producing elite athletes. It does contribute to producing recreational athletes. It's not a result of being physically literate or becoming physically literate. Because again, everyone is on a physical literacy journey, which will change, it will ebb and flow, it will fluctuate depending on circumstances. Okay, so what is it then? So these are the key features of physical literacy. It's applicable to all. So someone who's 95 can still be on a physical literacy journey as opposed to someone who's 2 years of age. It's a journey. It's not an end state. You don't become physically literate. And that's where lots of confusion occurs because we try to measure it. We try to say someone is physically literate. I'll talk about this in the following lecture. And again, this is where it gets philosophical. It's founded on what we call monistic principles. So you've got what we call the monists and you've got the dualists. So what we mean by a monist and a dualist, a monist tends to think that it's about the body just being physical. So we only recognize the body as being a physical vessel. The dualist tends to think it's the brain and the body working together. So the brain, which does the cognitive process and the thinking, the body, which is the physical vessel, they need to interact and work together. Whereas your monist tends to think, oh, it's just about the body, it's just a physical vessel to be physically active. It's more than just movement competence and fundamental movement skill. We need to consider the other attributes, cognitive, affective, physical. It's not a goal of one area. So if we look at the previous slides where I said there's all these competing interests, it's not just for PE, it's not just for coaches, it's not just for the conditioning coaches. Physical literacy can be in all areas of life. Cradle to grave, from the minute you're born to when you die, you're on that physical literacy journey. It's not just the sole responsibility of PE, and it's not just the sole responsibility of primary education. Physical literacy can exist anywhere, wherever, whatever age, whatever organisation. And most importantly, it cannot be taught. And I see this all the time. People going into schools, delivering a physical literacy program. Yes, you can incorporate physical literacy elements into your teaching and your coaching. It's an outcome of what you do. So just be careful with obviously how you interpret it. So key messages to take away. As long as you're coaching, demonstrates you are developing motivation in kids, confidence, competence, knowledge and understanding. You're well on the way to making children or supporting children on a physical literacy journey. And I think the key messages for you guys is, right, as a coach, how do I ensure the attributes that contribute to physical literacy are embedded in my coaching and teaching practice? So how do I intrinsically motivate them? How do I make them more autonomous? How do I make them more self-determined? How do I improve their confidence to participate and to engage? How do I improve their movement skill? How do I educate them about knowledge and understanding and learning? Lots of information to take away there. And following the next lecture, I will put some directed reading up. I'll put some journal articles because physical literacy at the minute it's still a buzzword. There's still a lot of confusion around how it is used and how we should be using it best to support what we do. But there's a lot of research now starting to be done. And again, for you guys, it's just understanding that.